And tonight on our great American panel, he is the founder and chairman of the Faith and Freedom Coalition. Ralph Reed is back with us. He was part of the Obama campaign media team. Democratic strategist Steve Murphy, and she is an entertainment reporter. Allison Rosen is with us. Guys, good to see you. I know you had a tough night last night, Steve, so we won't start with the elections. I'll get to that in a second. Fascinating clip. You know, I've always been pro-life my entire life. And especially with new technology and the advancement of new medical technology, it's fascinating, you know, when you see that heartbeat in 18 days and you see it, you know, the development of a fetus, it's pretty remarkable what we've learned about when life begins. Planned Parenthood, a director quits after watching an abortion ultrasound. And let's show you this video.
I feel so pure in heart. I don't have this guilt. I don't have this burden on me anymore. And that's how I know that this conversion was a spiritual conversion.
You know, I've always said, Ralph, that when technology will change people's hearts. This is an example. She joined a pro-life group after that. Your thoughts?
No question about it. I mean, you remember back in the 80s, Dr. Bernard Nathanson, who was one of the fathers of the pro-abortion movement, had a very similar conversion experience. I was born 6 weeks premature, and it's very personal for me, and was able to watch my 4 children on this technology. And that's why we support women's right to know laws, because we don't think women should be forced or manipulated in any way. They ought to have all the information, and this is an example of a heart change. And in the end, Sean, we're going to have political disputes. We're going to have the legislative battles, and that's part of a free society.
Sure.
But what's ultimately going to win this is the same thing that won civil rights and the same thing that won the suffragist movement. It's going to be a change in the culture and a change in people's hearts, and here's one heart that's changed.
You know, I'm pro-choice, Steve. I'm pro-choice on education. I'm pro-choice in people's right to keep and bear arms. I also think people make choices, though. For example, if you choose to get in the car with somebody, you choose to start making out with somebody, you choose to take off one article of clothing after another, you know where I'm going with this. There are a lot of choices that people make leading up to whether or not they get pregnant. Does this at all change your heart when you see a beating heart, when you see a developing human body inside of a woman?
Well, no, it doesn't change my heart, Sean, because being pro-choice, not pro-abortion, pro-choice, is not the same. It's not being morally neutral about abortion. I'm opposed to abortion, and most people who are pro-choice are. In almost all circumstances, I don't think it's the right thing to do. I think it's terrible that we have this many abortions in the country, but it's just a question about whether a doctor is going to make a medical decision or whether the government is.
So your argument is that the state has no right to be in a woman's business, period.
The woman has a right to choose, should make the decision.
So 2 days before her due date, she should be able to choose?
No, of course not. Of course not. And under current law, that's not allowable.
Well, it actually is. Partial birth abortion is still legal. But where do you draw the line? After 6 months and 22 hours and 8 seconds? Where do you draw the line?
Morally, I would draw the line a long time before then. We don't have elective abortions at that point in time. But we have way too many abortions in this country. What if we had the ability to preserve a life that was growing inside a woman after 3 weeks after conception? Would you support the right of that? Of the womb?
Yes, outside of the womb.
I do not believe that viable fetuses should be aborted under almost any circumstance.
Wow, that's a pretty big concession.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it's in the womb, I mean, here's the thing. I'm pro-choice, but I'm not. Like you're saying, I'm not pro-abortion. I personally wouldn't be able to have one, and it is such an emotional issue. However, I still support the right of other people to have them. So I think that you can admit...
All right, 9 months, 2 days before your due date, can you have one?
No, but there's no one who would do that.
No, it happens. It's partial. You know what happens during a partial birth abortion procedure. You're aware of what happens.
That's extreme medical cases, though, isn't it?
No, it's actually not. People, they actually insert scissors. The child is halfway born, and they suction out the brain.
A case of something like a fetal anomaly, where the baby is not going to be viable outside the womb.
Ralph?
You know, look, again, I think that this very discussion is demonstrating why the American people support, by an overwhelming majority, common sense restrictions on abortion. 72% favor a ban on partial birth abortion, 60-something percent favor parental notification and parental consent. And right now, Sean, I know you know this because you've reported it, The Gallup organization is showing for the first time in 20 years, a majority of the American people say they're pro-life and support restricting abortion to the hard cases of rape, incest, and life of the mother. There is no question that the culture is moving in this direction, the technology is moving in this direction, and I think that's where we're headed.
There are more people opposed to abortion today than has been the case in the not too distant past, 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's for the reason that you just described. It's because young people today have been raised to practice safe sex. They understand the dangers of AIDS and other sexually transmitted diseases. Let me finish, Sean. So they think elective abortion as a means of birth control is wrong. They do think that.
Right.
But that's different from saying it should be illegal.
Yeah.
That's what...
Well, yeah, no, I agree. That is different than saying it should be illegal. And I think that there's so many people who are torn up inside upon seeing this video and who feel like it's wrong, but you can feel like it's wrong but still make a different decision.
Now, I let Murphy off the hook for this segment. But when we come back, I'm going to torture you over the massacre that your party experienced last night, because you deserve,
I'm so tired from celebrating all night the win in New York 23 I worked on.
You deserve what's coming up in the next segment.
Now, too.
All right? You deserve it. Just stay tuned. We'll take a break more with our great, great American panel.